you. Dave Alpern, you're a guy who conquered a lot of odds to get to where you are as a Chief Marketing Officer of Joe Gibbs Racing. I know your story. Can you just give us a few minutes about how you conquered odds, where you started with Joe Gibbs?
Yeah, thanks, and man, I appreciate that. That's great, and it's interesting. We all have different obstacles. You know, mine were quite different in that I was the only son of a high-achieving father, and so I kind of grew up. You know, my obstacle was the fact that I was sort of groomed for success, very much the opposite, and I lived with the pressure of a father who spoke 5 languages and was a operative for the CIA and briefed presidents, and he was a concert pianist, and my dad was an amazing man, and my whole life I was taught success is getting a good job and making a lot of money, and I knew from an early age, it became apparent, you know, it's going to be really hard to outdo my dad. And for a kid, you know, and I went to a high school in Northern Virginia outside of Washington, D.C., where all the kids, their parents were all, you know, either on Capitol Hill or they were, you know, presidents of companies. And there was a lot of pressure involved. So I remember vividly when we talk about failures, I had a lot of them. I remember literally falling to my knees, weeping when I didn't get into my first choice in college, or my second, or my third. Went to my 4th choice. And I remember thinking, how am I going to tell my dad? He's going to be so disappointed. My father was an electrical engineer. I was great at math, so I figured, because everybody told me, well, you're good at math, your dad's an engineer, that's what you need to do. So I let the world define what I needed to do. So I went to college to be an engineer. Guess what? A year into that, wasn't going to happen. I hated it. I said, just because you're good at something, and that's a lesson in life, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that that's your sweet spot. And I encourage you, when I like to talk to college folks especially, talk about finding your sweet spot, the intersection of your greatest talent and your greatest passion. I was good at math, but I wasn't passionate about it. I encourage you to read a book by a guy named Ken Coleman who kind of coined the phrase sweet spot. So went on to change my major to broadcast journalism. I have a neurological disease called Tourette's, which causes some twitches and some things. And for somebody that wants to be on camera, that can pose some problems. So through high school, I did a lot with the campus, you know, the campus TV station, and started making my way in that. And then I got an opportunity to be an unpaid intern with a startup NASCAR team. And I remember going to my dad saying, you know, after my dad paid for my college and the engineering thing didn't work out, and now the broadcast journalism thing, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Charlotte. They're not going to pay me, and they don't even have an office for me, but I just got a feeling that this is something that I need to do. And I remember my dad saying, and it was great, he said, well, it's not the way we scripted it, but he said, Joe Gibbs, he's a winner. You hitch your wagon to a winner, and that's usually a good decision, which is another lesson in life, that it's not really the what, but who. So when you're hooking up, it's the people that you're with, the people that you work for, in my opinion. And I tell people all the time, we could be selling coat hangers. It doesn't matter. It's who I'm doing it with and what we're about. And hopefully we'll talk more today about is when you talk about the doing good and doing well, Joe's notorious for saying all the championships that we win and the races we win, they mean nothing. All they do is provide a platform to do greater things. And so we all have a responsibility in our businesses and in our careers to use what we're doing as a platform to do other things. And we'll talk a lot about those today. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Dave. Conquered a lot of odds.